How's it going, everyone? It is Drago. We're back with another chapter of Fairy Tale 100 Year Quest, Chapter 89, Evening of Elentir. The cover for this chapter has Ferris on it, and she is looking mighty fancy with her dress, and I'm guessing she's going up to the Whiteout Village and stuff, which, spoilers for the end of this chapter, this probably is the last time we see Ferris. Getting into the actual chapter itself, we pick up with Team Fairy Tale, and they just defeated Alta Face, and you still see the rubble falling from that fight. From all the rubble falling and whatnot, you see Wendy turning from adult Wendy back to regular Wendy, which I think this pretty much confirms that she definitely was in Dragon Force in the adult form, because her hair changes colors, which they're all pretty much like, we won, right? I'm pretty sure we did. Like, you see all this rubble and destruction, but there's still a ton of magic power here, which I love Natsu's plan of like, oh, there's so much magic power, I'll just eat it. I'll stop all the magic power if I just eat it. It's like, anytime you've done that, Natsu, it doesn't entirely work out amazingly. I mean, he did at Tower of Heaven with the Ether Nano. Yes, he got Dragon Force there, but he passed out pretty quick after that. Which Wendy looks freaking drained after her fight, which the whole group is like, okay, we've done all we can. Now all we have to do is escape, and you get a great shot of them all running away. Particularly like Gray running away. I think his just animation for running there just looks really stupid, and I kind of love it in a really weird way. If you remember, they are like miles underground, so you know this whole cave is collapsing that they're in, so they got to get out of there. So this is where Lucy comes in clutch, Cullen and Virgo, and you see the aftermath of all the destruction. You see the hands like blowing up the place, and the hands are starting to crumble as well since Alta Face is destroyed, and you get some of the reactions from the Whiteout Village like citizens and Happy and Carla, and you get a little bit of destruction mixed in there as well. So we go away from Team Fairy Tale and we go back to the Whiteout Village, and you know they all noticed that Team Fairy Tale has succeeded in defeating Alta Face, so they start to begin to do the Whiteout ritual. The first magic circle that they do, I thought it looked like ones from Black Clover. If you're in the Heart Kingdom, it looks like the magic circles that they make. The second magic circle goes back to like the OG looking magic circles that happened in the beginning of the series that they stopped using. So they do their big Whiteout ritual that purges all the extra magic power in the world, and you see it like destroying all the hands, kind of going Thanos style, like dissolving them into dust. The whole village is celebrating that Fairy Tale won, that they purged the extra magic power and the world is safe now. You see that Team Fairy Tale actually made it out safe, and I love that Virgo. It's just like, she literally looks like she's trying to like react to the audience, like, I saved everyone, you see? And I'm pretty sure this narration is done by Lucy, but you start getting a narration about events that happened. It's basically going over what happened in the arc and how they defeated Alta Face and how the magic power was overwhelming. Then the Whiteout Priestesses and the Whiteout Village stopped it all, and that the world went to peace and like a stable magic power. And then you get to see some of the aftermath of all this, like houses destroyed and whatnot, and all of Silene's forces actually arrested, and that they were all like originally from that world, and that they are all judged and imprisoned according to their laws, which you get some reactions from Silene's forces. Haikun and Yuko are just like mad that they got caught, and like Yuko is saying like, you'll regret this someday. But you get Mimi challenging Lucy to another battle, and she is like, yeah, I'll pass on that, like, leave me alone, please. We get the usual average stuff of at the end of an arc, you know, Team Fairy Tale celebrating, like you see Natsu dancing with the rest of the Whiteout Village, and that they were celebrating because they were the heroes of the village and their whole world as a whole. But you get the average stuff of that Natsu ended up destroying most of the buildings that they ended up fixing in their partying, and Gray, being the stripper that he is, ended up getting in a lot of trouble with their laws and stuff. And surprisingly enough, you get Urza actually causing fights, which even in the narration literally says she's usually the one to stop those sort of things, not actually start them, which then you just get more shots of the team partying, them eating, having fun. But meanwhile, Lucy is just sitting in the background, reminiscing about things. And this is why I think the narration's coming from Lucy. It's basically like they were bothered that Silene and Suzaku just suddenly disappeared and no one knew where they were. So that was a priority that they were all wondering where the heck those two went. But for Lucy and her team, they had another worry, and they still have to go back to their world because their guildmates are waiting for them to come home. So surprisingly enough, you get Natsu like, okay, we should start heading back now. You get the Wait Up Priestess fawning way over Gray, and he is definitely not into it. And you start getting goodbyes and stuff, and you see Ferris all sad. All the Exceeds are saying their goodbyes as well, which this is where you get Ferris really feeling bad, and she goes up to Natsu and the gang, and she's like, I caused you guys a lot of trouble. Which Lucy and Urza are pretty understanding of this. They're like, you had to do all this to try and save your world, and plus you were getting tempted by Silene, so, just don't worry about it. You were basically being used as a pawn, which Natsu really being great about this. He's like, well, if you feel so bad about it, I could just punch you, then we'd be even. Which you get quite a bit of Lucy trying to block Natsu's actions in this chapter. Like, she's like, how dare you do that? How dare you, Natsu? Which Lucy goes into even more lecturing mode, like, you were planning on hitting her with everything you got, weren't you? Plus, she's a girl. How dare you? Which Natsu's just like, well, yeah, but Fire Dragon Iron Fist. What you get Ferris breaking down, like, you hit me as many times as you want, this is how I atone for my crimes. Which I will say, Natsu was pretty committed to this bit, because he's like winding up ready to punch her, and Lucy's in the background still freaking out, and you get some of the villagers and Gray and Wendy freaking out as well. Surprisingly enough, Urza steps in to block off everyone, just let Natsu go at it. To be real, when I first read this, I'm like, oh wow, he's really going at it. He's actually gonna try and kill this chick, because he's like, grit your teeth, you controlled my friends, you made me fight all them. And she's not even denying it. She's like, yeah, I totally did all that, I caused the Battle of Fairy Tail 2.0, controlled them against their will, I did a lot of messed up things, you're totally worth it to punch me. Which I thought, legit, Natsu's winded up to do a Fire Dragon Iron Fist. He just does the littlest bump on her forehead with his fist. He's like, yeah, everything you did, that got me real fired up. Which everyone's just smiling and kind of laughing about it, like he wasn't actually taking it seriously. He was just like, I'm gonna boop. Which he's having a real blast with this, because he's like, yeah, that fighting my friends again, that was a real fun time. I haven't been that fired up in a while. Thanks a lot for that. Which Natsu teases, we should do it again sometime. Battle of Fairy Tail, round 3, let's go. Which I love Gray and Natsu here, because Gray's like, aren't you gonna hit her? He's like, yeah, I really let her have it. I love their little friend banter when they're actually not trying to kill each other practically. But you get a nice shot and a nice send off here with Ferris and everyone, with Natsu with his fist out saying, thank you from my heart. Which Ferris is breaking down, why are you even thanking me? I did a lot of messed up crap. Which Natsu's just laughing it off, and Lucy is just like, oh, he didn't actually hit her, and that's our Natsu. And with that, the team is back at Earthland. And that is the end of our chapter. So my thoughts. Obviously, this is the send-off, this world and stuff, and this arc as a whole. Obviously, next week is probably just going to be starting to set up a new arc. Probably have the team meet back up with the guild and, see familiar faces again, because they're all probably worried that they all just disappeared from the face of the earth. So probably next week, you're probably going to see probably most of the guild. You're probably going to get a moment between Gray and Juvia with her freaking out that Gray's back. Potentially maybe even Gray saying stuff with Juvia because of his battle with Haikun and him seeing a life with her and stuff. And also that the fact that he saw his kid. But it'll be definitely interesting because you go from how they did with Edelus and whatnot. They told the rest of the guild about their experience in Ellis, so it wouldn't surprise me if they told them about actually going back to Ellis and then going to this new world as well. The beginning of this chapter being them escaping from the rubble. I mean, I like their running away shot, and I liked the shot of them coming up with Virgo, just because I liked Virgo's stance. Otherwise, the Wait Up Village stopping all the magic power. I mean, that's just them doing a magic circle and a light beam in the sky. There really ain't much going on there. Otherwise, the send-off with Ferris and her being sad about her crimes. I liked the spin with Natsu. Like, I genuinely did think he was gonna, like, freaking, like, punch this chick with full power, and I liked how Lucy's just trying to stop him, but he knew what he was doing. He was just, don't be so hard on yourself. In all actuality, next week I do look forward to the chapter, because we probably are going to get some nice guild moments. It's probably going to maybe be chill for a little bit here before we get into another really big arc again. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just some spin-off chapters, or some, like, we're going to a beach, or we're going to have some fun little vacation before we get into anything more serious. Otherwise, I am currently making a character discussion video on Gray, and that's going to be a longer video, and I will probably try and make, since we're pretty much wrapped up with this arc right here, I'll try and make a video encompassing what I thought of the arc, and where do we go from here, and just kind of a general summary / review of this whole arc as a whole. So I'm probably going to try and do that as well. Otherwise, if you got any other videos, leave it in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and this is Drago signing out.